Bob writes about it. Jim talks about it. But Chuck did something about it.
Foreman on a big hole across the 10. He's something else. He's out in touchdown land. He's something else, baby.
Now, here's longtime columnist Bob Sansevere, Fox 9's Jim Rich, and the great number 44,
Double 4.
Chuck Foreman.
Welcome to the JimBob Sports Jamboree, a playoff edition as the Vikings get set for the Rams. This show presented by the Window Store, Inc. Thanks to Tyler, who joins us each week, and Chuck Foreman, the legend, the Vikings Ring of Honor member, the guy that should be in the Hall of Fame. We'll get you there one of these days, but let's go to the massacre in Motown and how this all went off the rails. I could have been fine with a loss, but the way they lost really bothered me. Chuck?
Well, I think the first two and a half quarters, I thought they played some really good football. It was after that where everything went south. I mean, you don't get in the red zone 4 times and come away with nothing against Detroit Lions. Right. That's the one thing. And then if you check the game out, I saw something that I've never seen happen to J.J. Jefferson.
Really? Go on.
That number 21 pretty much shut him down. Now you go over the film and you look over it. He had a real difficult time getting away from this guy. And the times that he did, Sam kind of overthrew him once. Maybe he dropped one. There was a couple that could have been caught. But that part of it is what dictated the outcome of the game offensively. And then, you know, they were able to concentrate on the running game. They shut that completely down.
Yeah, so you're talking about Robertson, the defensive back?
Yeah. Go back and look at that film if you get a chance.
I will. I definitely will.
I'm with you.
And watch him and how he covered JJ. That I have never seen anybody cover him like that since he's been in here.
I think there's a few different things that happened in this game. One, shutting JJ down. 2, I think going for it on 4th down twice in a row in the red zone was a terrible idea. And also 3, obviously Sam Darnold, right? Like we had to bring that up. He got nervous. He just got those yips. He missed so many throws.
Okay, let me clarify. Can I interject something like that?
Yeah, for sure.
About the nervousness?
It's your show.
No, it's not my show. I'm just saying, hey, he wasn't nervous. He was under pressure from start to finish. And he was going through his progression so fast, you know, I mean, he had to. Mm-hmm. And he was off kilter, for lack of a better word. He just wasn't able to plant and throw and do anything. He was on the run.
Well, we know he loves to hold the ball, right?
Yeah, but they weren't open. Okay, now maybe this is what I'm seeing. I mean, I can't, from what I'm seeing, Sam could have played better, no doubt, no questions. But from the start to the finish, that guy was under pressure the whole game.
Right, and I think part of the thing that I've heard from people that covered the Vikings there, they said that they didn't think the Vikings were expecting Detroit to be man-on-man.
Yeah.
They figured that because of all the injuries Detroit has suffered, so many people were gone, that it would be a zone. And that's why those routes that they were running, why you're saying Sam was holding the ball so long, Tyler, is because when you run out against the zone, you have to get into certain areas of the zone, and that's what Sam was waiting for.
Right, and I think that the Robertson he was very familiar with JJ because they played against each other, I think, in high school, college. You know, and I don't know. I don't know the whole story. But, he was really aware of his strong suits and his weaknesses. He didn't have any weaknesses, but I'm just saying that I have never seen a corner cover JJ like that ever since he's been here.
Yeah, I mean, and Detroit went all out. They had 14-0 blitzes, according to ESPN stats and information.
Yeah.
They were bringing the house every single time.
And there were 12 of their defensive players on IR.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I think the Vikings were thinking they would see zone because when you don't have the skill,
Right.
you go to zone because then you can help each other out, right, Chuck? Isn't that the theory behind it?
That's the theory behind it. But like they had that ace in the hole at number 21, Robinson, and he impressed me for sure. I've never seen anybody cover JJ like that.
Things really snowballed too. I mean, when your defense is playing that good in the first half and our offense just can't score, it's demoralizing. It really is demoralizing.
And especially when you get in the red zone 4 times. You come away with nothing. Now, I don't agree. When you get down, everybody's like, like Detroit's always going to take that gamble, and go for it, 4th down. No, I'm believing in taking the points. Unless you get into the late third and late in the 4th quarter, then I'm going to take some gambles like that.
Okay.
But not in the first half. I'm not doing that. I'm taking points.
100%. Take the points.
I'm taking the points. I'm not going in there trying to, go toe to toe with somebody that, what's the Detroit got to lose? They haven't been worthy of anything since 1957.
Well, if you think about it, in the third quarter, now think about this. In the third quarter, when we kicked that field goal, if we would have kicked the first 2, it would have been 12-10 Vikings. What kind of different psyche is that? Instead of that it was 6-12.
It's a big difference when you got the lead.
Kick the field goal.
Yeah, take the field goal. Take the points. Take the points. I'm telling you, in my opinion, I don't know what they were thinking. Why, Kevin was, trying to go toe-to-toe with Detroit on this 4th down deal. Maybe he was, I don't know. But we lost that deal.
Yeah. The theory was, or perhaps one of the theories would be that you're going to have to score touchdowns, not field goals. This game, the first one to 30 was going to win. And so if you didn't go, if you're kicking threes and not getting into the end zone. And then maybe the other thought of O'Connell was, how after the Jacksonville game when Darnold threw the 3 picks, what did O'Connell do? He patted him on the shoulder, told him, hey, you're fine. You're our guy. We believe in you. And this may have been a mini pat him on the back, say, hey, I know you can get this on 4th down. Let's go for it. And try to shake him out of what was bugging him, whether it was all that pressure, whether it was something in his head because he had never been in a situation like this. He's been playing with house money all season long, right? No one expected anything of the guy. So he throws 3 touchdowns. Wow, that's pretty cool. Now all of a sudden he was expected to be the guy and didn't deliver. And there's various reasons, but the end result was it didn't show up well on paper for Sam.
Well, there was a guy that I played for that would have took the points. Of course, we did have the purple people eaters too. He would have took the points, and relied on that defense, which I think we got a pretty good defense. They got worn out because they weren't getting a break.
Right. They were on the field
towards the end. They were on the field too much. Offense did nothing. I mean, so I think if they would have got the points, it would have gave the defense a little more. I don't know, made them a little more excited, or they said, okay, we're in the game, and they were, maybe been able to turn it up another notch.
I think it goes from a have to have great defense to okay, we're doing good here. Think about the difference between Van Ginkel right there. He could have been a pick 6,
right?
But maybe he's just pushing it way too hard because he's got to do something. He's not relaxed enough to make that catch and go score.
Well, anyway, it was the last game of the season. But it was an important game, so we went from 1 to 5. Now, the only good thing about this thing is everybody starts off at 0-0. The unfortunate thing is we're going to have to play more games than everybody else. And so here we are. So I don't know how these guys are going to do it because I don't know them personally or haven't been in the locker room with them. But I remember even when I was a rookie and I got here and we were going into the playoffs. And, I remember the veterans would say, hey, rookie, this is a whole different ball game now, don't you? And I'm like, what do you mean? Hey, you better find a way to get to that next level of concentration, of commitment, and be able to go 4.5 quarters, not 4, at 150%. That's what they told me. And I'm like, how am I going to do that? But you find a way to mentally, because it's mostly mental, to make that commitment to leave it all there.
Yeah.
To take it to the, even when you think you're tired, you dig deep and this is what the Vikings game this week against the Rams. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
If they are a championship caliber team, they're gonna bounce back and play well.
And that was my next question was, okay, we've built this great team, best team in NFL history to have to be a wild card. Okay. Of course, Minnesota Vikings,
Right,
here we are,
right.
14 wins, first 14-win team
Right.
ever to be a wild card team. But did Detroit show something to the Rams? Because it seems like when someone loses, everybody else dives at that film and they go, oh, here it is. Here's the path to the safe in the house. We now know where to go. Was this a house of cards and the Lions just kicked out that jack of diamonds and the whole thing is going to collapse now?
Well, here's the way I'm going to reverse that and say, what are the Vikings going to do to make sure a situation like that doesn't happen again? What are we going to change, or what are these guys going to do to make sure that, number one, when we get in the end zone, they better come up with something different.
The red zone.
Yeah, the red
Get
zone
into the end
especially,
zone.
because like if we would have gotten there 2 times, it would have been a whole different ballgame.
Exactly, because then that would have changed the Lions'
whole
playbook.
complex of the game.
Because then they couldn't run Gibbs
Right.
all day. They didn't have the luxury.
Right.
Then you make them one-dimensional, then that defense can get after them even more.
And the other thing I'm going to say, when you mentioned Gibbs, Rams ain't got no Gibbs.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very true. Yeah.
I mean that guy's like I don't know how fast he is,
It's fast, real fast.
but I don't think I've seen anybody that fast coming out of that backfield like that. I mean, he outran everything.
Everything.
I mean, even guys that were standing there waiting on him to tackle him, he just went by him so fast, that. It was. I haven't seen a back like that in a while. Like I think, I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen a
Since you were
performance
playing.
like that. No, I wasn't that. I mean, don't miss totally different type of player, but yeah, that guy's got afterburners.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's definitely a sprinter.
All right, Tyler, you are among the fan base, and you are watching this. How is your confidence going into this Rams game now? Because all of a sudden we were talking about, we're home for the entire playoffs. That's the easiest path to the Super Bowl. Now it was like chutes and ladders. You just slid all the way back down, and now you got the hardest path to get there.
So I think about it like PTSD, right? Like how many memories came flooding back into all of us fans that have been with the Vikings for years and years and years. The only 14 team to make the wild card, but what you got to do is you got to realize this is a different team than all of those teams, and any given Sunday is a real statement that we can do and rise above. I'm not going to give up on the Vikings ever, but it did hurt, and it brought back a lot of bad memories. But what you got to do is you got to press on. We're 0-0 going into Monday, and we're going to come home with a victory.
So you got Detroit, you got Green Bay, you got the Vikings, 3 of the best teams in the NFC. Mm-hmm. Now that hasn't happened for our conference in a long, long time. I mean, we got Detroit, exceptional team. You got, the Vikings, a really good team, and then you got Green Bay. They can beat anybody anytime.
Yeah.
So I mean, we played against the best teams twice. So like we're 0-0, and who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody starts now. You lose, you're out.
Yeah. Well, all right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk to Tyler about some deals going on at the Window Store Inc. And also, Kevin O'Connell, the story floated out there by Jay Glazer on NFL on Fox. He said that teams are going to be calling or have called the Minnesota Vikings to see if Kevin O'Connell is available via trade. We'll get into that and much more as we continue here on the JimBob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman. Welcome back to the JimBob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman. This show is presented by the Window Store Inc. Tyler Ganz, the owner, sitting right here with us. Chuck and Tyler, it's a new year, so there may be some new deals for homeowners.
Yeah, this year we're really excited about 2025 and all the great things we've got going on. Our main special that we're kicking off right now is just new you. Yeah, a new year, new house, new year, new windows, new year, new kitchen, right? Like we're just trying to push. Everyone goes, we get a natural increase in the spring. Everybody does, right? So right now we're just trying to get to as many customers as we can. No gimmicks, no specials that are going to fly off the shelf. We're just going to give you everyday honest pricing. That's what we like to do. That's our bread and butter anyway.
The Window Store Inc. The website is windowstoreinc.com. You can go there. That's the best way to get in touch with you guys because there's a button right on the front page where you schedule consultation. You got somebody right there. There's also a contact thing. And, what do you know? There's a phone number right there you could dial as well. 612-252-5780. That is the Window Store Inc. And, you could talk to people, right? That's the beauty of you guys, is that you're local guys. You can explain to people, well, if you do this, you really got to fix this because this will give you problems down the road later.
There's no call center out of country here. You're going to talk to Julian. You're going to talk to Lindsay. You're going to talk to Jordan. They're going to answer the phone. They're going to answer your questions, whether it's about service. We've already been out there. Whether to schedule a new consultation, whether you want to talk about our financing options where you can get those windows you got to get done at an affordable price point, a monthly payment that everybody can afford. That's what we're here to do.
All right. Awesome. All right. Let's go to this. Jay Glazer, Fox Sports, who is a guy that just doesn't make things up, right? I don't think he walked in there last Sunday morning and said, God, I really don't have anything. So I'm just going to throw this up there. This will really pop. The Vikings head coach, possibly for sale. Kevin O'Connell. He says that teams are already talking to the Vikings or will talk to them about trading for Kevin O'Connell. And this isn't the first time in NFL history that something like this has happened. Back in 2000, the New York Jets traded Bill Belichick to the New England Patriots for draft picks. The Jets got a first, a fourth rounder, and a seventh rounder. And at that time, Belichick was the defensive coordinator. He wasn't the head coach. So the price for O'Connell, 3 number ones.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say about that. Okay, why would the Wills, trade away, in my opinion, the best young coach in the NFL? If I'm wanting to win championships, why would you trade him to somebody else so they could win championships? This guy, when it comes to offensive football, he's second to none. He's been able to put a great staff together. Brian Flores, for instance, he's come in here and done a great job with the defense. All the other coaches that we have, he's been able to put together a great mix of people to be successful. Because, and the reason I'm saying that is, who expected the Vikings to be 14, win 14 games? Who expected them to win 13 the other year or whatever?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Correct.
Okay, so you can have talent, but that talent's got to be willing to work that hard for that coach and trust him and believe in him, knowing that he's going to be there to have their back and do what he needs to do to give them the best chance to win. And that's what he does. So why would the Vikings, Glazer, okay, fine, wherever, I don't know where he's getting this stuff from, but
maybe O'Connell's agent to rack up the price.
But I don't think the Wills would need something like that to keep Kevin O'Connor.
I think it's just.
I think, hey, look, I know whatever it is, but I'm just saying, hey, they didn't get to where they were by being, waiting around. I'm sure they're in negotiations with him right now.
Well, they did say, I remember this from training camp, Mark Wilf was meeting with the media, and Kwesi and O'Connell have this season and next season on their contract. And people said, well, are you going to extend him? And Mark Wilf's answer was, we'll see how this season plays out. So now is O'Connell perturbed by that, saying, well, really? You don't think I've done enough already? And maybe this is his agent getting in Jay Glazer's ear saying, hey, you know what? My guy's not happy here. He wants out.
Well, I can tell you one thing. From what I saw after that one win the week before we lost, he ain't going anywhere. Excuse me for saying it like that. He's got too much respect. The players care about him. You see that locker room? When you get players like that excited about a coach, he's bringing a little bit more than coaching to the room.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
So, the Wilfs, I have no doubt Kevin is going to be here for as long as he wants to. Well, as long as he keeps winning.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep winning, I feel.
Yeah, but
that culture is right, though. The culture is what he's built.
So you don't want to tear that apart.
That's why Daniel Jones wanted to come here. Right?
Exactly.
Well, but the other reason why this could have some life or why teams are nosing around is because right now the Vikings have 3 picks, 4 picks in next year's draft. They don't have a lot of ammunition. And in the NFL, you need picks to keep your team going. You can't live on free agency.
Yeah, but who's going to coach him?
We got a lot of cap space.
Move Brian Flores to the head spot. You could get 3 first, move Flores over to the top spot.
I don't think that of all the jobs that are open, I think Brian might just sit back and wait for the right job to come.
Well, this time, at least he is getting interviewed. Remember last year, we all sat here and we're like, wow, nobody's asked to talk to him.
Well, right.
This year, the Bears and the Jets have so far.
Well, Brian, don't you go to either one of those teams. Don't do that.
Why shouldn't he go to either of those two?
The situation's not right.
The situation's not right.
What about the Bears?
The Bears, no way. We don't want him coaching against us.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
But he's a defensive coach that's a traditional defensive team, right? And that may be the best fit for him. I don't want him to go anywhere. I'm right with you.
I don't want him to go anywhere, but definitely don't want him going up to the Bears.
Divisional rivalry.
No, you don't want that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
And
I was putting myself in his shoes. Consider.
You don't want to go to the Jets and all that.
No, because the owner's
the Jets
goofy.
are terrible.
The owner's goofy.
Yeah, then you got a quarterback that's kind of, I don't know.
Who knows if Rodgers will even be there? Do you think Rodgers even plays again next year, or was this his
I don't think anybody,
swan song?
I don't think anybody really cares. I really don't.
His 4 touchdown performance in his last game helped his case for next year.
I'm not saying he's okay when it comes to a team and your quarterback. I don't know. It's got to be a positive situation, I think. And I don't know. He might not be the right fit for. I don't know where to go. I don't want to say what I'm going to say, but
somebody will take a flyer.
Somebody take a shot.
He'll show up somewhere. Just looking for the.
It'll have to be a veteran team with some guys that can just say, get in his face if he comes off wrong, or something like that. Where he's going to have to be with a team where some guys have the same type of clout.
Yeah. If we went back to Flores for just a second, I wanted to ask you, if you're as a head coach and you're looking for that right position, what right position is going to come up if the head coach before you just got fired? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that you're going to look for? You want to go there.
Stability and ownership. Mm-hmm. You got to check the ownership and their person. I look in how long do they keep coaches? A lot of teams, like you look at the Raiders, they've got 1, 2, 3. Just, right. You don't have a chance. Okay, so that tells me that's not stable as far as decision making goes. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've had 3 coaches in 60 years. Okay, you know what I mean, and they still win. Okay, but you got to give a guy a chance to develop, and everybody wants it all, and they want it now. Just like your kids, they want it now. It's just like college football. I read a story where a kid transferred 5 times. He wants to play now, but he ain't good enough to play now. But I'm just saying, you got to have stability and give people a chance to develop. And when you do that and you get that good sound base, you're in a good place.
And especially for Flores, because he's already been a head coach once. So if you get booted twice, it's over. Even if it's a bad ownership or something like that, it doesn't matter. You're been removed twice from your job. A third chance is going to be very difficult to acquire. So if he does leap, like Chuck says, it's got to be the right spot. And he knows that in his head because he's been through a bad situation in Miami where they wanted him to throw games and he wouldn't do it, right? And he's been in New England, so he knows what stable ownership is like. I mean, that job may appeal to him. The Patriots may ask if he wants to come back there.
Now, that's one he could look at because there's stability there. They got reputation. They got everything.
And he's in the AFC.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't have to worry about him.
We're
not playing him.
But I can guarantee you, whenever he decides to go, and I hope he picks the right team, and New England would be one I would consider. I guarantee you they're going to be a winner.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Daniel Jones is on the active roster. What does that mean? Will he play against the Rams? We'll get Chuck's opinion on that and much more. You're listening to the JimBob Sports Jamboree presented by Window Store, Inc. Welcome back to the JimBob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman. This show presented by the Window Store, Inc. And the owner, Tyler, right here with us. Daniel Jones, activated by the Minnesota Vikings and should be available for the playoff game Monday night against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Daniel Jones came to the Vikings as a free agent after he was cut by the Giants, came to the quarterback sanctuary that Kevin O'Connell reforms battered quarterbacks' psyches. And in order for the Vikings to get compensation for him, he needs to be on the active roster for one game. So is this just a paper shuffle that gets him qualified so the Vikings can get a compensatory pick next year in the draft? Or, Chuck, is there something else cooking here with Daniel Jones?
All right, when it comes to the draft, what kind of draft choice can he get?
A third rounder, because
maybe.
Whereas if he walked away as a free agent, right, the Vikings only have signed him through the rest of this season, they would get nothing. So by putting him on your active roster, you earn a compensatory pick. So the NFL will say, okay, you'll get a third or whatever he is worth in their mind. Well, so that's why that's on the surface why they have done that.
Right.
But deep down, Sean McVay pulled a fast one on the Vikings last time when they activated Puka just before the game. Vikings didn't think he was going to play. And he was a Pro Bowler, ripping up and down the field. And Flores even admitted this week they were not ready for that. So does O'Connell come back at his old boss, say, okay, you want to play that kind of game? I'm just going to activate this guy, but it's just so we get some compensation next year.
I don't know about that. If I'm gonna activate him, I'm sure going to activate him and put a little package in there for him just in case. You know, the guy's one heck of an athlete for sure. He's been here
since Thanksgiving.
So he knows the offense, no question about it. And I'm sure, you know, after watching him since Thanksgiving, they see some things that we haven't seen on a daily basis. So, and you know, he came from a crappy team with a crappy, offensive scheme.
Right. Well, he just didn't have the support. I mean, he is Sam Darnold 2.0, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, if the Rams spend 1 minute talking about Daniel Jones, that's a great play by O'Connell because that's a victory all day long.
Yeah, they definitely
every second they spend thinking about him is a victory for us.
Exactly. Because they definitely go like, oh, wait a minute now. They may be putting the package in for him. Mm-hmm. And the guy's an athlete, so I don't know what it'll be.
I love it. I think it's
coach
warfare.
Psychologically, challenging for them. Like, wait a minute now. We might want to watch him.
Right, because he is a better athlete than Darnold, right? A stronger arm, faster,
he might be
bigger.
Sam Darnold's a pretty good athlete.
No,
now.
I know. I'm saying a lot, but I've heard from people that have seen him throw at the facility when when the media is thrown out, but other people have been around that I could talk to, and they said his arm is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is. Like I said, this dude, he is that type of athlete.
So that would be that would be something to see. That would almost go back to the Bud Grant days when he'd come up with something bizarre for the Rams in those championship games, or where you guys would go with the throwing the guys up to block kicks, or all the things that Bud would concoct.
Yeah, well, we're playing against the Rams, so
yes, that's right.
I know a lot about that organization. Well, back in my time, anyway.
Do you think there's any way that Sam comes out besides an injury? I mean, if he comes in and plays the first half like he played last game, you think he comes out in the second half with
No, not at all.
Yeah. No, I think
you keep saying if he comes out and plays like he played the first half, that wasn't Sam's fault the first half. I mean, certainly they had pressure on him, Tyler. They were pressuring him like you wouldn't believe.
I watched the game, man.
All right, well, I'm telling you.
I watched it.
Yeah, all right, you watch it, so
I'm telling you, those guys were wide open. He's throwing them 5 feet over their head.
I'm not saying he wasn't off balance and whatever. He wasn't the norm, no question about it. But he wasn't the norm because he didn't get a chance to be.
All right,
the pressure.
We got 90 seconds left of this segment. What happens on Monday night in your mind, or what has to happen for the Vikings, Chuck, for them to advance in the playoffs?
Offensive line play got to improve, and JJ's got to come to play. I mean, he always comes to play, but he's got to be a big factor. Let's put it like that.
Tyler?
I agree with you. The offensive line has got to play better, but we need, again, 4 quarters out of our defense and a crushing defeat to give us the confidence to go into round 2.
I agree.
There you go. All right, when we come back, Bob Sansevere will join us. And you are listening to the JimBob Sports Jamboree with Vikings legend Chuck Foreman, presented by the Window Store, Inc.
On behalf of Vikings legend Chuck Foreman and Fox 9's Jim Rich, I'm Bob Sansevere, and I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and our radio partners, KXRA in Alexandria, KRWC in Buffalo, KDHL in Faribault and Owatonna, KDAL and WDSM in Duluth, WNMT in Hibbing, KTOE in Mankato, AM 660 The Bear, WBHR in St. Cloud, and Wild 102 FM in Roseau. Also, KWOA AM FM in Worthington, and KKBJ in Bemidji, and Bob Total Country serving the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and surrounding areas. We'll talk to you later.